various different pearls of Shi Ban Gong Bei, and then you get a chance to ask some questions as you want regarding these pearls. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. And Dr. Chen, okay, yeah, I have the privilege to share. That's wonderful. So let me see. Okay. And everybody, you can turn up your computer sound a little bit. We have some part of the program has sound. So you may want to turn up a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to share again. So Dr. Chen, can you see it?
Perfect. Very good.
Okay, good. Okay, everybody, this is monthly Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro Zoom. And Shi Ban Gong Bei is an ancient Chinese saying about accomplishing twice the work in half the time. It's combining the wisdom of the East and the West to accomplish things more successfully and efficiently. You can take a picture of the screen where my contact informations are, and you can contact me anytime during or after. So take a picture of the screen, it's the easiest. And the film site has a free link you can watch. And the film tells the story of a Chinese-American immigrant and our foundation's work in helping blind orphan children, and how in the process we developed the amniotic membrane contact lens to help patients around the world. And if you pass this link to people to share, more people watch site through this free link, more help to our foundation, because it helps spread the word about the foundation's work so we can help more blind orphan children. So take a picture of the screen so you can have this free link and appreciate sharing with others and help our foundation as such. Regarding my bio, I'm just going to highlight 2 points. One is the amniotic membrane contact lens work that has been really have transformed the world and helped many patients, millions. Second, it's our foundation to help blind orphan children and the subject of the film site. So the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I came from for those of you who are new to this program, and for those who have been to this program is a quick review that has to do with how I developed the Shi Ban Gong Bei methodology, how to accomplish double in half the time. So the today is this program, and the next one, actually you can take a picture, and the next one is June. We're going to skip May. So the next one is going to be June 18th. June 18th. So I'm going to do is I'm going to change this now. Let's see if I can change it. June 18th is the next one. Okay. Okay, so you can take a picture of this. It's always the 3rd Wednesday of every month. But the next one we're gonna skip May because I will be in China. So we're gonna do it in June, 3rd Wednesday. So you can take a picture of it. If you're interested in the Shi Ban Gong Bei booklet, if you have not got one, you can email me your mailing address and I'll mail you as a little gift. So take a picture of the screen so you have my email address, email me your mailing address, and I'll mail you. So again, after today, the next one is June 18th. And we're skipping May, 3rd Wednesday of every month. So once again, if you're interested in the book, you can email me and I'll be happy to mail you a copy of the book. Very briefly about my story. I came from China, grew up during Cultural Revolution. When at age 14, I was not allowed to go to high school, and I was going to be sent away to labor camp together with 20 million others. I learned the Chinese violin erhu and to learn to dance to avoid being sent away to labor camp. Then 1976 rolled around, Cultural Revolution ended. As you see in the film, I got a chance to quickly jump back to school and for basic few months, and then then participate in the college entrance exam. I came to America in I went to university first, science and technology in China, and then came to America in 1982 at the University of Maryland, enrolled in PhD program, studied laser physics. I wanted to go to medical school, but I was racially discriminated against. This part of the story is shown in the film Sight. Fortunately, I did not give up. I worked even harder. So after postdoc at MIT, I got enrolled at Harvard Medical School, MIT Joint MD program. 1991, I finished and invited my parents over. And the film Sight was dedicated to my parents. The reason I got 2 doctorate degrees, one in medicine, one in laser physics, is because medicine is so technological driven. And most of the doctors have not got a chance, as I did, very lucky to have the in-depth training in the technology. So I'm probably one of the few laser vision surgeons in the world who also have a doctorate degree in laser physics. I have performed over 55,000 laser vision corrections, including on over 4,000 doctors. And this is my graduation from Harvard and MIT Joint MD program. Chinese violin that I played during Cultural Revolution now become a hobby, and I use it to showcase what Chinese culture has to offer to the West. And a big part of my life has been devoted in studying how to help people restore eyesight due to trauma and infection and injury. In the film Sight, you see the 5-year-old blind orphan child Kajal, who was intentionally blinded by her own stepmother, who poured sulfuric acid into her eyes when she was sleeping one night, in an attempt to make Kajal a blind orphan child who can then sing on the streets, who will get more money from tourists. Kajal was then found to have no talent of singing. She couldn't sing. That's why she was abandoned in the train station near Calcutta, India. We brought her here, and the movie Sight is about Kajal's remarkable journey in trying to come from darkness to light. So I started doing some of the research and found out that in order to reduce the scar, we know that a fetus does not scar. But how can we do research on fetal tissue without hurting a life? They say there's no common ground between science and faith. Is that really true? And being a Christian, I did what a Christian should be doing, that pray to God and asking for answer. Do science and faith have common ground? Even publish a book, Common Ground Bible Study. So after much praying and working with other scientists, an idea emerged that perhaps we can use the amniotic membrane, the placenta. So using placenta, through much research, we developed the amniotic membrane contact lens. Perhaps the placenta is what gives the unborn child the ability to heal without scar. When the amniotic membrane contact lens was placed onto injured eyes, we saw that indeed miracle happened. The scar is much reduced and sight is restored in many patients. Then I decided to donate my patent to the world. I put it online and went around the world over 20-some year period to about 50-some countries, free of charge, taught over 10,000 eye doctors how to use this technology. As shown in the film Sight, the amniotic membrane contact lens is now a $5 billion per year industry worldwide. And eye doctors from nearly every nation are using it, and millions of patients have their eyesight restored. Because I donated my patent, so in the process, I did not make any money myself, but I'm happy that the technology has transformed the world, and I have done my part to contribute as an immigrant. As we get older, the eye gets drier. This patient has significant dry eye over many years, couldn't see in pain. And we put amniotic membrane contact lenses that her eyes started regenerate and heal, and she could see. So amniotic membrane contact lens, which was highlighted in the film Sight, shows that its amazing technology has transformed the world, helped millions, but also shows that science and faith can indeed work together. Finally, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, Music City, USA. And we have many technologies because of my special training, not just in medicine, MD degree, but also PhD degree in laser physics. This is my paper in the journal Nature. And I used to serve on US ophthalmic device panel, the first Chinese Americans to do so in history. And we're training surgeons worldwide. As many of you know, that there are 5 human prescription eye conditions that all of us affected at some point in our lives: myopia, hyperopia, astigmatism, presbyopia, reading difficulty, and cataract. In year 2025, we have good news. We have conquered all 5 human prescription eye conditions. With these top 4 technology, you can take a picture of this. If you have any question in the Q&A, you can ask if you want to. And every Tuesday, we do a vision Zoom, Tuesday, 6:45 p.m. Central Time. These are top 4 technologies that humankind has to offer in year 2025. In the top left, you see SMILE. Believe it or not, LASIK surgery is going out of date. LASIK surgery is becoming obsolete. It's now replaced rapidly by better technology called SMILE, small incision LASIK. Smaller incision, less dry eyes. Lower left corner, implantable contact lens. If you don't want to remove contact lens bedtime, I've got a technology to put contact lens inside your eyes, so you never need to remove it. In the middle, over 45, we have technology to improve your distance and reading glasses. Basically, for every young surgery or refractive lens exchange, in one surgery, we can improve all 5 human conditions: vision, myopia, hyperopia, astigmatism, presbyopia, and cataract. You never need glasses to drive, you never need reading glasses, and you never will develop cataracts. So that's the middle, for every young surgery or refractive lens exchange. On the right is cataract surgery. We can use laser or blade. But despite the availability of these top 4 technologies, majority of surgeons are still not using it. In the United States, only 5% of surgeons are using these top 4 technologies because the doctors many use the old technologies. They stay with it. So that's why I published these textbooks over the years in ophthalmic technologies to try to help surgeons around the world to improve their weak area, which is technology. Living in Nashville, Tennessee, I have my share of star patients: Dolly Parton, Nicole Kidman, others. I've not forgotten I came from China, so I've been going back to China before COVID almost every year, free of charge, taught over 10,000 eye doctors in China how to improve the quality of care. I even performed China's first all-laser LASIK. I've been part of the Eye Hospital Group. Here in Nashville, Tennessee, today we have patients from all over the United States, from over 40 states, and from over 55 countries worldwide. So finally, our foundation, which featured many patients in the film Sight. This is a real-life cajole featured in the film Sight. We have helped patients from all over the world. And dancing that I learned during Cultural Revolution to escape labor camp now has become a hobby. I use it to create a concept called the eyeball, to raise money using dancing to help blind orphan children. And as Chinese Americans, we all need to stand up and help America. I've established Tennessee Immigrant Minority Business Group to help Asian Americans, African Americans, Latino Americans to improve our business, but also help America. As a Christian, I often present my favorite topic, faith and science for common ground, at the churches. This is a tremendous honor to be awarded Nashvillian of the Year in Nashville a few years ago. So my little story basics, I found that science is necessary, but they are the tools, and faith for me as a Christian in Christ give me a purpose. This is why I have developed a foundation to help blind orphan children. So any of you are interested in the book based on which the film is made, you can visit winefoundation.com, and the $25 to Wine Foundation and so we can help more blind orphan children. All proceeds of the book goes to the foundation. All medical care for these patients are all free. Foundation raised money to help these kids travel and other non-medical expenses. So finally, I want to show a little trailer of the movie Sight. You can turn up your computer sound right now. 2 minutes. Here we go. The film won the Best Picture award at the ICVM International Christian Film Award. Here's the film Sight. And here you see the free link also. You can take a picture, and you're welcome to pass this free link to friends to help the foundation spread the word. Here we go.
I'm going to help you see again.
You said it was impossible.
Ah, there he is, the good doctor.
You're going to be on the cover of the Tennessee Herald tomorrow morning. You may get a date out of this.
Not with that picture.
Very funny.
Our pro bono office got a call from India. A little girl, 6 years old.
Apparently, street beggars make more money if they're legitimately blind. So the stepmother poured sulfuric acid in each of her eyes.
I'm going to help you see again, Kajal.
Is it true that multiple doctors declared your patient irreversibly blind?
Yes, I developed this new breakthrough technology. Here we go. Do you see the light?
No. I can't see anything.
I have this patient from India. She reminds me of some things in the past that I can't get over.
The present is made possible by the past.
A long time ago back in China, there was an uprising in my hometown. Many bad things happened.
So we came to America.
Yes.
It's hard getting into medical school, but you coming from China, don't waste your time.
You cannot change the past, Ming. I feel like I'm stuck.
Hello, doctor. This is Maria.
We want to give her a chance to see again.
I don't even know if I can perform surgery anymore. I left you.
Stop it. You need to just let go.
I just don't want Maria to end up like Kajal.
We can only do our best. I'm with you, Ming. We can do this.
I refuse to believe there is no purpose.
I will be praying for you.
Kajal is teaching you that there's more to life than what you see. We have to keep going.
Thought you said it was impossible.
Can you see yourself, Maria?
I'm so pretty.
After 10 years of making the site, the film was rejected by all top 10 Hollywood film distributors, both digital and theatrical, citing they're not as interested in Christian film anyway, and also as a Chinese-American film, no Kung Fu or ancient dynasty, it will never be successful. So it looked like the film will be buried, just like all other attempts by Chinese-Americans to tell our immigrant stories in the past. I decided to fight it. So I took the film around the United States, did something unprecedented in US history. The subject of the film took the film around the country over 365 days, traveled to 40 states, conducted 500 free film shows to 50,000 Chinese Americans. It's a national film tour, generating a movement, a tell our story, tell Jesus story tour, because I believe Jesus wants science and faith to work together. So in February of 2024, the Angel Studio answered the prayer, so they decided to distribute the film. In the last summer, 2024, it ran a US theater for 3 months. It's the longest run film in the summer in 2024 in America. And box office 7.2 million. And right now the film is being streamed. You can take a picture of the screen, and it's a free streaming link. And please share the streaming link with folks, because more people watch the film through this free streaming link, more foundation will get help, because we spread the word to foundation. We can get more donations from people who want to support the foundation. So therefore we can help more blind orphan children as such. The film is for our next generation, second generation Chinese Americans, to help them understand their parents a little bit better, that our hard work in helping create an opportunity for their kids. So once again, Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro, next one is June 18th. And always third month, we're skipping May. You can take a picture. You can email me your mailing address. I'll be happy to send you a booklet. Now, into Shi Ban Gong Bei. One of the questions I get from people all the time is how much can I really improve the efficiency using these Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls? The answer will shock you, up to 1,000%. It's interesting that over my lifetime, one of the questions I get from people all the time is, Ming, how many hours do you have in a day? Do you have like 48 or hours a day or something? My answer always surprised them. I said, really, I really feel like sometimes 72 or 96 hours in a day. They say, how come? My answers, I use these pearls. So these pearls I learned from students and colleagues who are smarter than me over the last nearly 5 decades. So how can we improve the efficiency using these pearls for up to 10 times? Here's why. Jonathan Haidt published a very famous, international famous behavioral psychologist, published a book called Righteous Mind, that showed a New York Times bestseller, showed that human beings were 90% emotional. And his point of view is also confirmed by Ray Dalio, the world's richest bond trader, as well as by Thomas Jefferson over 200 years ago. We are 90% emotional as human beings. Then I thought, well, if human beings are indeed mostly emotional, irrational, therefore inefficient, but if our behavior is random, then we have no solution, right? You cannot correct a random error. Fortunately, another giant came up. Professor Dan Ariely from Duke University. He published another New York Times bestseller called Predictably Irrational. Shows that human nature is not only irrational, emotional, and therefore inefficient, but also we're systematically so, meaning we're predictably so. Then an aha moment occurred to me. I realized that by standing on the shoulder of these two giants, one says humans mostly irrational, emotional, inefficient, and the other giant says we are predictably irrational. Then I said, then I can predictably, using systematic solution, to address our systematic irrational behavior. But since we are 90% irrational, or therefore inefficient, but if you manage to convert your 90% irrational, inefficient behavior into rational and efficient, that is why you can improve by up to 1,000% the efficiency of things when you do by using these Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls. So basically, Shi Ban Gong Bei identifies 77 human nature-driven irrational behaviors, our natural but irrational, inefficient behaviors, applying logic to solve the problem. Then you may say, Ming, why wait until you put forth this Shi Ban Gong Bei, these 77 solutions? What's unique about you? Are you smart or something? I'm not stupid, but I'm not the smartest. My uniqueness is because I grew up in the East and I live in the West. I've got a chance to combine the best of what East and West to offer. So my unique point of view is because of this unique background, wider cultural experience, and taking the best from East and West. So Shi Ban Gong Bei, we're gonna address these 77 pearls. Today, the first few minutes, I'm gonna run through the pearls that we've gone through in the past monthly Zooms, and I'm gonna focus then on today 10 pearls. That is our focus today. So I'm gonna run through very quickly. Again, if you're interested in the book, you email me your mailing address, and I'll be happy to mail you a copy as a little gift. So here we go. I'm not going to explain, I will just run through it. The first 40 pearls. Pearl 1. In partnership, the person is more important than the project. In partnership, who your partner is more important than what you will be doing together. Examine the character of a potential partner before entering into a business relationship with him or her. With the right partner, you may be able to do the right thing. However, with the wrong partner, you may never be able to do the right thing. Pro 2. However, it's not always people is more important than the project. In another setting, in solving a problem in a business, the matter is actually more important than the person. When addressing a problem, you should not focus on the personal attributes of the individual who made a mistake. If you do, you will place the focus on the person, him or herself, which may then incite his or her ego, and therefore create an emotional barrier that could cause him or her to never be able to see the issue itself. Therefore, you should focus on the issue instead of the person. The goal is to solve the problem and improve the system, not to blame a particular person. So think about in your workplace, how often can you apply this pearl? Again, these pearls is over the last nearly 50 years, I've learned from students and colleagues who are a lot smarter than me. It's an aggregation of my observation about life, about human, natural, inefficient behaviors, and how we devise logical solutions to make us more efficient. Pro 3. Life is a two-way street. If you need someone to assist you with your project, you first need to do everything you can to help that person with his or her project. Then he or she will be more inclined to help you with yours. A person who always just take but not give will never be successful. Pro 4. Make it easy for others to help you. If you need help with your project, you need to first accomplish as much as you can yourself. Don't be lazy. If the person from whom you need help sees that you truly care about your own project, that you have already done as much as you can yourself before you ask for help, he or she will be more willing to assist you. Furthermore, the more you have done yourself prior to asking for help, the less he or she will have to do to help you. So the easier it will be for him or her to do it to help you. Pro 5. Why am I here today? Whatever you're doing, always be willing to step back for a moment. Look at the whole situation and ask yourself this question. Ultimately, what is my real reason or purpose of my being here today? You'll be surprised to find that lots of time we jump in doing things as a human being, forgetting what's the real reason that why we're doing it. Pro 6. Identify the number one task. When faced with many challenges, rank them in the order of importance so you can devote most of your attention to the number one task. The ability to rank lies at the heart of the human experience. The ability to rank lies at the heart of the human experience. Pro 7. Applying logic to everything you do. Apply logic to everything you do, whether it's big or small, and ask yourself this question. Does it actually make logical sense the way we do it? And how can I more logically solve this problem? You'll be surprised that so many things we do is not because it makes sense, but because this is the way it has been done. Pro 8. Check things orthogonally. When you check something for accuracy, try not to use the same method that you used to obtain your initial result to begin with. Because if there was an error with that method, you will likely make the same mistake again. You're much more likely to catch an error if you use a completely different and unrelated, therefore orthogonal in logic method the second time. Think about how you can apply this pearl in finding errors of how you do. Don't use the same method to check. Pro 9. Focus on content before form. Content is more important than the form, and substance is much more important than formality. It's interesting. human nature, we have evolved and changed into a species that focus a lot more on the form than the substance. It's interesting to discuss how we developed that way, while we focus on the form rather than substance, naturally. So I will leave that question to you. Anyway, that's all on human nature, focus on form rather than substance. That's why we need to overcome that. Focus on the substance. Pro 10, focus only on what you do and the things you can control. Do not worry about what others do. Focus only on what you yourself can do. Do not waste any time on things that are not under your control. Focus only on things you can do or change. I still catch myself make mistakes on this all the time. I complain and try to change other people, still forgetting that at the end of the day, each of us going through our lives, the only person we have a chance to change is only ourselves. So do not waste time to try to change others. Pro 11, learn from others' mistake. Learn from the mistakes of others. So hopefully you won't have to make the same mistake yourself. It is shocking, all of us, myself included, human nature. We just literally have to make the same mistakes in order to learn. But if we recognize this human nature and try to observe more the mistakes made by others and try to avoid making those mistakes without having to make them in the first place, we'll be so much more efficient. But it's not natural. All 77 pros is all unnatural human behavior, trying to overcome naturally emotional, irrational, and inefficient human behaviors. Pro 12, stay focused on the point. Do not be distracted by an example that people use. Always keep your focus on the issue itself. It's very interesting as human nature that if you follow your natural instinct, when somebody tell you and they say, for example, without thinking, you got distracted by the example. Take it back, recognizing that natural weakness of your being distracted by examples. Stay focused on the point. Pro 13, don't try to change someone else. Adapt to change yourself. You cannot change another person anyway. You can only change yourself. The ideal work partner should be someone who, at the onset, already possesses many attributes that will enable you to work well together. If adjustments are needed after you begin working together, adopt and change only yourself. Pro 14, success is measured by effort, not by result. Success is not defined by how much we have accomplished, but by whether or not we have made our best effort. If you have done your best in everything you have done, then you are successful. It is interesting that we as human beings do not define success by effort. We naturally define the success by the result. And it will be an interesting question to think about why we naturally evolved that way. It's human nature to look at the result, not the effort. So we need to change ourselves in order to be more successful. Basically, change fundamentally the definition of success. Pro 15, people will do what others have done in a similar situation. If you want someone to do something, first try to identify and then convey to him or her what others in a similar situation have done previously. Since people generally feel more comfortable doing something which has been done by others who have been in their shoes. Think about it, how you can use this pros to get people to do what you want them to do. Pro 16, can I do this a little bit better? Whatever you're part of it, whether it's a process or product, always be willing to ask you this basic question. Can I do this just a little bit better than others? Pro 17, help others to recall the issue yourself. When you follow up with someone on the issue, remember that although you are fully aware of the issue, since it is your issue, he or she may not be fully aware. So first, try to help the person recall what it is all about. So he or she wouldn't have to spend extra time, him or herself, figuring that out. If the individual has to do that, he or she may very well end up not doing the things you want him or her to do because it seems just like too much trouble. And remember, it is not even his or her project to begin with. Think about how often we violate this principle. 18, always be prepared with a backup plan. Whatever you do, go into it fully prepared with at least a plan B and sometimes even plan C. When something unexpected happens and you are not already prepared with an alternative plan, then going back to the drawing board is a total waste of time. Just think about how often, almost on a daily basis, we violate this principle. Pro 19, improve the system itself. When solving a problem, don't be satisfied with only solving the problem itself. Instead, try to examine the system from which the problem arose in the first place and find ways to improve the underlying system itself. Think about it. How often we do not follow this pro. 20, identify the real intention of a person. The real intention of a drunkard is not necessarily in the wine, as they say in Chinese. Sometimes it may be appear to be something, but really it's not that. He or she actually wants something else. This is very interesting. Human nature, very often, they do not come out with their real intention right away. So you need to recognize this human nature characteristics and avoid making a mistake, making mistaken assumption as such. 21, listen and then speak. Listen first. Let people finish what they're saying and then speak. If you wait, you will avoid speaking prematurely. I cannot tell you how often I still violate this principle myself. 22, among life's uncertainties, identify the few things that are indeed certain. When faced with many uncertainties, identify among them the few things that are indeed certain. Then hang your hat on them. It is really, really interesting. And I'm still trying to study why we as human beings naturally gravitate towards things uncertain. That's not going to help us. So change ourselves, change our habit, and go into the situation and focusing only on the things that are actually certain. 23, at least try. If you don't even try, you have zero chance to succeed. But if you try, even when you only have 1% of chance of succeed, it is still much better than 0. 24, 3 criteria to determine if you do need to solve a problem. It's interesting that we jump into solving problems every day without applying some basic common sense criteria to determine if this problem is worth solving at all. So what are the 3 criteria to help us determine if we need to solve that problem to begin with? These are 3 criteria. Does the problem indeed exist? Sometimes it's an imaginary problem. Second, if it exists, is it actually a big problem that merits time and effort it takes to solve the problem? Because even if it's a small problem, it doesn't worth the effort. Why bother? Criteria 3, even if it exists a problem, even if it's a big problem, it doesn't really matter to solve it. Do you really have to solve it? Think about how often we violate these 3 principles, jumping solving a problem, because we end up wasting lots of time. 25, on what does a human happiness depend? Well, human happiness does not depend how much you have. Human happiness does not even depend how much you want. Human happiness depends on the distance between how much you have and how much you want. The smaller that distance is, the happier a human being is. Think about it. That is the formula for success and happiness. Shrink the distance. 26, restate the question, please. Before we hurry to answer a question, sometimes it is helpful to ask, could you please restate the question again? Since clarifying what has actually been asked of you is often half of the battle. 27, goal of life. The goal of life is not about seeing how much we can accomplish, but rather if we are happy throughout the journey. Life is not about feeling that we have arrived at wherever. Life is about enjoying the process of trying to get there. 28. You can actually change the reality around you. It's very interesting that we tend to think, or we've been taught, we cannot change the reality around us. If people around us are unhappy, we're stuck with it. No, this process you can actually change the surrounding around you. How come? Here's why. The traditional wisdom that you cannot change your surrounding and the reality around you is actually wrong. In fact, you can. Let's say if you're always positive, always choosing to try to do something rather than not trying at all, always deciding to look at the glass at half full rather than half empty, then eventually you find that people around you somehow all magically changed. And now they're all happy now. So here's the question. How did you end up changing your environment, the people around you? Well, this is because you have caused that change yourself. Because you have chosen to be positive. Now you actually create, you're actually the one who actually create a similar happy reality environment around you because the birds of the similar feather flock together. See? You can change it if you so choose. Even the surroundings around yourself. Your subjective choice does influence the objective reality around you. 29. Do everything a little bit better. Contrary to popular belief, people who are successful in life often do not have incredible, earth-shattering, unique skills and or secrets that others don't have. They are just a little bit more diligent and alert, always watching with everything they do to try to find opportunities to maximize their effort in order to just a little bit better than others. They may just do 1% better than others in one thing, but guess what? Cumulatively, they eventually end up doing much better in life overall than most of us. And I fortunately learned this from many of my colleagues who are a lot more successful, a lot more smarter than me over the decades. And I found this is the cumulative behavior of trying to do everything just 1% better in everything they do and exponentially accumulate over time. 30, 90% what we think is happening to us is actually our reaction to it. Of all the things we think that are happening to us, only 10% is indeed the things is actually physically happening to us, which we have no control. But 90% is actually our reaction, which we do have control. So if we can modify and improve our subjective reaction, we can in fact overcome and control 90% of what we believe an objective things happen to us that we have no control. This is a tremendous pearl that I use all the time. Something will happen is big time negative. I recognize that negative impression that's happening to me. 90% of that is my own reaction. Only 10% is actually bad. So that 90% negative reaction from myself, I can curtail it, I can modify it, I can change it. 31, yin and yang. Life is about balance, yin and yang. Again, as I said, Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls is my accumulative east and west pearls. Going to one stream often generate exactly the opposite effect of what you desire. If you're extreme in one effort at something, you can actually end up being non-productive and bad at accomplishing the desired goal. Now, we all have the impression of the yin and yang symbol, right? So if I ask you, what do you think it's the meaning of the yin and yang symbol? You say, well, it's about complementarity, it's about circularity, it's about one complete the other, etc. These are all correct, but it has even deeper meaning, the yin and yang. What it does is that if you follow, say, the white part of the area of the yin and yang symbol, you keep on going white, become wider and wider. Eventually, you into a wide ocean. Then guess what? You end up in a little black island. So there's such thing as to be bad when you're too good. So that's the ancient Chinese wisdom about balancing. Okay, so think about it. 32. Before you speak, first rank your questions or answers. People pay most attention to what you say first. So before you ask a question or answer one, first think it through in your own mind, and then ask the most important question first. Similarly, when answering a question, figure out your top and most critical answer, and then state that first. I cannot tell you how often I use this prose all the time. You know, when somebody asks you a question, your emotional reaction is, hey, whatever about, whatever come to my mind first. Realizing that as a listener, they only pay most attention to the first thing you say. The second thing you say, they only pay 50% attention. The third things you say, they only pay 25% attention. So in order to communicate much more effectively, do not answer quickly whatever comes to your mind. If you have 3 answers in your mind, rank them in your mind first and spell out first the most important, because you have the most of the listener's attention with the first thing you say. 33. A frog at the bottom of a well. This came from Chinese proverb. Again, Shi Ban Gong Bei is about combining East and West, taking the best of both cultures. Each of us is a frog at the bottom of a well, i.e. our perspective, basis for judgment, and opinions are limited by our own experience and exposure in life. We look up and see a small round patch of clear sky and believe, oh, it is a beautiful day. However, when we, as a little frog, climb out of the well up to the ground level, then are now able to see, look around to see the entire sky, we may realize this is actually a cloudy day. We see the small patch of sky we were able to see earlier when we were at the bottom well was actually not representative of the whole situation. This is a humbling notion. Every human being, we don't realize, whatever our life perspective, what we see around the world is only we are at bottom of a frog at the bottom of a well. Only small patch of sky may not be representative of the whole sky. But human nature is very, very well centered. We just believe whatever we see. You say, seeing is believing. Okay, what I see is whatever. No, we recognize we are each a little frog at the bottom of a well. Only by listening to others, share our experience together, just like patching many, many different photos to make a total big picture. We have to recognize we all limited. The goal of communication. The goal of our communication should not be just get a chance to just talk. The goal should be make sure that our listener do understand what we're talking about. Don't just continue talking and be oblivious to whether or not your listener understands or even cares at all what you're talking about. I'm sure you all have the experience that in a party you met someone, the guy keep on talking about his uncle, and you're just listening there, you say, do I care? Do I know your uncle at all? It's just very interesting. Human nature is that we just talk for the sake of talking without realizing that the goal of communication is not just talk. It's to make sure our listener do understand what we're talking about. I catch myself all the time making this mistake all the time. 35, the best teacher. The best teacher is not someone who knows the most. You see, common wisdom said, yeah, the teacher, who is the best teacher? Someone knows the most. No, not at all. The best teacher is not someone who knows the most. The best teacher is someone who knows the most about what his or her students know. Think about it. If you want to be a good communicator, more important than what you want to communicate is, do you know how much your listener knows to begin with before you communicate? 36. People may be wrong, but they will still want to be respected and heard. Although people may be wrong, they still want to be respected and heard. So respect them and let them fully express their opinion and consider carefully what they say. This is something that very interesting. Human beings are generally, by nature, self-centered. We all, know that, myself included. But not only that we are self-centered, we are actually have a natural tendency to proclaim our self-perceived superiority. It's interesting. Human beings not only self-centered, we all believe we are right, everybody else is wrong. So that's a human nature, and it makes things we do less efficient. So Pearl 36 to recognize that. Remember that in order to succeed in life, in order to have friends, in order to be happy, even if someone expresses opinion, he or she could be wrong. He or she still have as much right to be respected as a human being. See, often our society today in America, we are violating this principle. When we disagree with someone, and we can disagree with opinion, but often we actually put the humanity of that person down. How often we made this mistake? And no wonder we're inefficient in communicating. People don't want to listen to us because however correct I may be, if I put Johnny down, he would never want to listen to me. Doesn't matter if a human being is right or wrong, everybody deserves the same right to be respected and heard. 37. Left and right brains. 1 + 1 more than 2. A right brain dominant person is supposed to be creative, artistic, we know that. And the one who is considered left brain is rational and logical, we know that. However, here's the point. We should not be limited by these classifications. For example, people say, I'm a right brain person, I'm an artist, so I'm not good at logical things, left brain stuff. We should not say that. Instead, we should engage our right brain to help us solving left brain logical tasks. Basically, such as applying artistry to precision eye surgery. I actually benefit from this pearl. I learned from someone who is a lot smarter than me, because when I do eye surgery, which is left brain logical task, right? I apply artistry. I want to do a surgery, but at the end, I'm going to ask myself, what will make this human being happy? Because what will make a artist happy is different from what will make a mathematician happy, right? It is the artistry of medicine. But interesting, when I do a creative work, the right brain work, such as ballroom dancing, I actually use the left brain, the logical part of my brain, to study a creative right brain activity, such as ballroom dancing. I study the mechanics, the physics, the acceleration, the angular momentum in ballroom dancing. So basically what I've learned is that rather than treating these two halves of the brain as two isolated halves, our right and left brains are meant to work together. So do not need to keep on saying, oh, I'm left brain, I can only do logical things, or I'm right brain, I'm only do artistic things. No, they are meant to work together, the left and right brain, synergistically. So when you use your left brain to deal with right brain tasks, use the right brain to deal with left brain tasks. When you combine them together rather than isolating them, you will create a situation in which 1 plus 1 actually more than 2? Wouldn't that make you more efficient? 38. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't write it. If you don't want people to know what you're doing, then simply don't do it. If you don't want people to read what you have written, just simply don't write it. You say, oh, man, I know that. But think about it. How often we violate this principle. Again, the Shi Ban Gong Bei prose is about common sense. So far, you see 38 prose, you just say, well, I know these things. But it's not about knowing these things, ladies and gentlemen. It's about the fact that most of us do not use these prose. Do not use them. So if you look at again my little booklet and review it, you can finish reading the whole book in 10 minutes, right? The little booklet, and try to apply them. You will find your efficiency will skyrocket. You can just bypass all these 90% of ourselves, which is irrational, unpredictable, inefficient human behaviors, applying logic. And you can make yourself a lot more efficient and create the feeling that I have sometimes. I feel like I sometimes have 72 or 96 hours in a day. Not because I'm smarter, because I recognize my pitfalls, my natural, irrational, inefficient, emotional way of doing things. 39. Don't criticize unless you have a better idea. If you don't have a better idea, then keep your mouth shut. If you want to criticize something, always be ready to offer what you believe is a better solution. Think about how often we violate this principle. Because life is not about what's the best. Life is about what is better. There's no absolute best. Life is about giving the two choices, which one is better. So next time you're about to criticize someone, if you don't have a better idea, then shut up. The ultimate drive in life. The ultimate drive in life is to love what you do. If you don't, change it. Steve Jobs, in his only commencement speech, 2005 Stanford University commencement speech, he said, they say, how come you create all these wonderful things, iPhone, iPod? What did you do? He said, you got to love what you do. He said, every morning you get up, you're in the mirror, look in the mirror. If you are not excited about what you're about to do, next day, same thing happened. Next day, same thing happened. Then change it. Life is too short to be stuck in doing something you do not love. 41. Maintain fairness, independent of human bias and favoritism. A system is truly fair if it is independent of the identity of any particular person who is placed in that position in the system. This is an amazingly useful business prose for me, because sometimes I will say, okay, the system's fair, but without realizing that I'm not detaching from the actual person in that job. The system is only fair when the fairness is assessed by removing that particular person in that post. This is very important because the system is only fair if it's independent, whoever is in that position. Then you say, wait a minute, Ming, you mean we confuse them together? That doesn't appear to be a logical way of doing things. Guess what? That's how we are. Our human nature is confuse the identity of person with the position of that person in that system. Again, all 77 prose is not rocket science. It's all existing human, irrational, emotional behaviors. And we are here to recognize our innate irrational behaviors as such and address them. Because these irrational behaviors of us, each of us, myself included, is irrational, but it's predictable. That's why we can devise predictable or systematic solution to address them. 42, the ultimate failure. A human being, if left to his or her vices, is bound to become corrupt, since we are all selfish in nature. The best way to develop a solid, incorruptible system is not rely upon any assumption of the goodness or unselfishness of any human being. It should be a fair system, and no one should be above that system. So this takes me a long time to understand, and I finally see it in everything we do. Just look at our current political system in America, our world system. It is absolutely a mistake to assume human being is unselfish. All human beings are selfish. That's just the nature. There's nothing wrong or unwrong about it. It's just the way it is. So the assumption always has to assume humans are selfish to begin with. Then our job is assume their selfishness and devise a system to address the selfish, rather than naively assume people in some powerful position is unselfish. This is just the most stupid assumption in life. 43, today is important too. Yesterday is about what we have done. Tomorrow is about what we will do. But we ignore today. Isn't that interesting? What about today? Should today merely serve to remember what we've done yesterday? Or should today merely to serve to prepare what we will be doing tomorrow? That is not fair. If it's if a day has a day right, you know, like human being has human right, today should have its own right, has day right, right? Today has its day right. So we need to change, recognize this human behavior and focus on today. Stay in the moment and make the best of right now. Think about it. The reason that we need to actually constantly remind ourselves as such, hey, don't forget about today, is because we naturally do not respect today. Because if we naturally respect today, we don't need to remind ourselves, right? Instead, we tend to just focus on past and future and just simply ignore today. That's why they say present is a present to ourselves. So I cannot tell you how often I got helped by this pro, because I always think about what I've done yesterday, and I always think today I'm used to plan what I'm going to do tomorrow, without realizing today it will never return, ever. So it's a human tendency, and here's the interesting question. Not only that's our human nature, ignoring today, but also why we ignore today. I'm going to pose that question to you. Think about it. Why we naturally behave that stupid way? Why we naturally behave in that inefficient, irrational way? And it's a systematic error. It's not like 50% of human beings ignore today, 50% human beings do not ignore today. No, it's like nearly everyone ignore today. So that's why human being is irrational, and predictably so, because virtually all of us ignore today. So that is why, because it is a systematic error, give us a chance to devise systematic logical solution, make us more efficient. That is the value of my little Shi Ban Gong Bei prose, using East and West and recognizing human innate inefficient tendencies. 2 more prose today, then we're done. 44, a true fair business deal. Truly fair business. Sometimes, in a business, oh, this is fair, Johnny. Well, what is the criteria if the business deal is fair or not? A true fair business deal is one in which you can picture yourself stepping into partner's shoes. And when you look at the deal from the perspective of that person, if it's still fair, then it's fair. In all human interactions, always be willing to look at things from others' perspective about trading places. We do not naturally trade places. We do not, myself included. That's why it is predictably irrational. Why is it irrational? How can you have a fair business deal without looking at other places from the other side if it's still fair, right? The fairness should be defined by looking at both sides, but we naturally do not do that. 45. Establish validity first before you examine the efficacy. If Johnny always tells lies, you are not going to listen to anything that Johnny says. So before you consider what a person has to say, first spend some time examining his or her validity. Only evaluate what the person actually says after you have a chance to first establish that he or she is indeed reliable, and therefore his or her opinion, whatever the opinion is indeed worth considering. Then you say, come on, Ming, I know that. It's nothing rocket science here, but guess what? We don't do it. We don't follow this pro. Sometimes we listen to someone tell us, we do not examine the validity. We jump straight into efficacy. Oh, Johnny said that, Nancy said that. No, don't jump in to listen to the content of what's being told to you. First, think about, is there a validity in that communicator? If the communicator is someone who always lies, you're wasting your time, because it's unlikely whatever he or she said is valid. So today we see these pros. There are 77 of them, and we'll go through the next one. Which one? It will skip May. The third Wednesday will be June 18th, the next one. And again, June 18th. Again, I'm going to change this. It should be June 18th. So on the screen, you can take a picture, but I'm going to change that. So actually, it's not, it's going to be June 18th. June 18th. Okay. I'm going to share again. Okay. So take a picture of this, and we're skipping May, and we cover 45 pearls, and we still got, 30, 45, yeah, 32 pearls to go. Each one I cover about anywhere between 5 to 10 new ones. And so basically the essence of the Shi Ban Gong Bei pearls is taking what's the best in the East, what's best in the West, to recognize that human nature, we can improve our efficiency by up to 1,000%. Why is that? It's because human nature, we are 90% irrational, therefore inefficient. And also, the irrationality is predictable. They give us the opportunity, standing on the two shoulder giants, the shoulders of two giants. I developed my third little booklet. It's called The Systematic Study of Irrational and Predictable Human Behavior, and I apply logics to it. The seldom applied logic to our behavior. Since 90% of ourselves is irrational, therefore emotional and inefficient, by improving that efficiency, 90% of it, because that's where 90% irrational, emotional, we can potentially improve our efficiency of doing whatever you do by up to 1,000%. So it's worth studying those. Most importantly, it's worth applying them. Again, all of these pros, you're going to end up saying, Dr. Wang, I have not heard anything new. I know these pros. My answer is absolutely. All of us knew. Nothing earth-shattering about it. The earth-shattering part about it is, guess what? 99% of us do not use it. We recognize human fault, inefficiency, irrationalities, emotionalities, but we're not diligent enough to address it. What's the benefit of addressing it? That's literally what I've benefited. Because as I mentioned to you, one of the questions I get from people over my lifetime has always been, Ming, how come? Do you have like 40 hours in a day or something? My answer always surprised them. I said, sometimes I feel like I have 72, 96 hours. They say, how come? I said, because I have the good fortune of working with many, many people from university in China and here in America, Harvard and MIT and all that. And I got good fortune of learning from some of the smarter folks. And I've been documenting, writing down why they're smarter, why they can do better things. I found a universal principle. That is, they all recognize human natural fault. They all devise intentional, rational solutions. So that's why these pros are valuable, because it's about recognizing our genetic fault as human beings and recognizing we are largely irrational, emotional, therefore inefficient. And since it's systematic problem, not a random problem, we can apply logical solutions to overcome them, to enable us to do things a lot more efficiently. Finally, if you're interested in helping our foundation so we can help more blind orphan children, you can visit wangfoundation.com, hit the donate button. If you write a check to Wang Foundation, all proceeds go to foundation, and all medical care for these blind orphan children are free, and really appreciate. And again, if you share this free link, you can take a picture of this screen and share this free link with people. More people watch this film site using this free link, they don't have to pay. More our foundation get helped. Why? Because more people know about the foundation, will end up getting more donations to the foundation, so we can help more blind orphan children. So by sharing this free site movie link, you're literally helping more blind orphan children. And on behalf of foundation, I want to thank you. So again, Shi Ban Gong Bei is an ancient Chinese saying about accomplishing twice the work in half the time. Why I end up doing this is because I'm being very blessed to have grown up in the East and live here in the West. And I've got the chance to take the best from both cultures, combining wisdom of East and West, so it can combine things more successfully and efficiently. Some people say, you know, world is so polarized, China, America, you know, knocking each other off, you know, hurting each other. The world is so polarized. Should the world go into the Asian way, or the world should go into living the Western way? Shi Ban Gong Bei tells us, at the end of the day, based on our shared humanity, it's not about the world should go east. It's not about the world should go west. It's about the world should go forward. That is the essence of Shi Ban Gong Bei, to recognize based on shared humanity. If we hurt each other, we'll end up mutual destruct. That's human nature. Human nature is mutual destruction. Repeat again. Human nature is mutual destruction. So just as Shi Ban Gong Bei is about recognizing human nature for division and polarization, because division and polarization give us power, control, and money, right? That's why human nature is for division and polarization. Recognizing that, rise above. Our natural tendency is to look at the cup is half empty, but change ourselves to look at the cup is full, to overcome our polarization and find common ground once again. That's the only way the human society can survive. And that is the essence of Shi Ban Gong Bei. Okay, I'm Dr. Chen. I finished my presentation. We got about 10 minutes or so to entertain questions. Anybody can ask question, and I'm going to just kind of like stop sharing, and I'm going to put in the chat room. And Dr. Chen, I'm going to put my chat room, my name, my email address, and my website, and also my WeChat. And anybody for free site link, I'm going to put the link there in the chat room, which is site.drmingwan.com. And second, if to attend the Shi Ban Gong Bei Zoom, which is always third Wednesday, except in May. Third Wednesday, which means i.e. June 18, 7:30 p.m. Central Time, and the Zoom number is 563-211-2348. Password 0524. And thirdly, to attend a Vision Zoom, which is Tuesday, 6:45 p.m. Central Time, weekly Vision Zoom. They should RSVP my website as such. So Dr. Chen, I sent it on the chat room. Can you copy this? And next time, which will be June 18th, just in the beginning of it and throughout the entire Zoom, Dr. Chen, just keep on copying this little block so that people at all times, Dr. Chen, will have this communication, because people may not attend the whole Zoom. So any part they attend, if they see this contact, so they can always contact me later. Okay, so if you just copy and copy this into your Word file, and every Zoom, every few minutes, when this block is pushed out of view, just keep on copying it. Okay, so this is our standing template for everyone. So I see lots of comments. Anybody have any question? You can open your, mic and ask a question.
Yeah.
Unmute your mic. We just have another 10 minutes and can share any question. And if I just kind of look at it, let me see. I see, how can I get the view of all the ones? That view, I'm gonna view Gally. Okay, yes, I got Gally. We got 20 people. I see my friend Aaron Shapiro. Yeah, Greg Bishop, thank you for coming. Yeah, and Li Shuzhen, Yumi, Johnny, and Franklin, Helen Chang, and we have Chris Nicole, Wang, Wen, and also we have other folks as well attending. So anybody has any questions? Cindy Fu, anybody? So I saw Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for your diligence. Aaron, can you share a little bit perspective? You attended that last one, March 19th, and you give me some feedback about the utility of these pros pretty much right after that Zoom. Can you just share a little bit about how you found these Shi Ban Gong Bei Pro to be useful and in what kind of circumstance?
Well, Doctor, I'm actually I'm gonna mirror it back to you. I'm actually kind of struggling with a problem right now, and I'm actually wanting to apply the pearls to them. And maybe I'm actually seeking your advice on which pearl to use. And I'll explain the situation, and maybe you can diagnose a pearl for me.
Sure.
So, briefly, I've been working on a project with actually a close friend, and it's for a piece of music production. He's one of my closest friends from childhood, and I've paid him a decent amount of money for this piece of music production, and he's not really open to collaborate with other producers, with other people. And he kind of he basically shared with me that he wants to control the whole project, and so I'm wanting to finish this piece of music and not let it die on the vine. And so I'm wondering if you, just based on that information I've given you, what you might do in that situation, and what if there are any pearls that come to mind to be successful through that.
So this is a very commonly encountered business problem, right? So you got a friend who has been commissioned a project and has gone, made some progress. And this time that you subjectively, you are hoping that he can collaborate with others to get the project down, finished, but yet he wants to kind of hoard it and does not want to share and wants to just continue on. So what I typically do in a circumstance, this is actually not one of the pros, but again, these 77 are not, it's just probably thousands of human behaviors such that we can address a solution for. So one of the things I have personally have done is I look at myself as this question, 50%. I use a 50% as my gauge. So I'm trying to figure out, has this person done about 50% of the project? So if I were you, I look at the whole scope of the project and I pay the guy and he's made some progress. And assuming through normal communication, he's not going to buckle. He wants to continue hold the project. And from your perspective, you just don't see this project is going to accomplish its potential by just stay with him alone. You really wanted to broaden scope for collaboration. So I asked myself the 50% question. I said, has this project gone 50% or not? If it's less than 50%, substantially less, let's say the project only gone about 20, 25%, I let him go. But on the other hand, if the project is already 75% done, I tend to make a distinction. You know what? Life is not about the best solution. Life is about what's better, which is one of the problems today. So I have two options. Let him go so that I find someone else to restart the whole thing, or work with him to finish. Only 25% go, which is somewhat compromise the quality. If it's project already past midpoint, I will finish it.
Yes.
So that is a subjective decision you have to make in figuring out which one. Now, here's the thing. Whichever decision you make, I found human tendency, another pro, which I have not put in the 77 pro, but something that I come to realize over the recent years, is that our human tendency afterwards is fixated on the downside of that decision. So if you make a decision, let him go. You have to make a special effort. Don't complain to yourself. Meaning, if you let him go, let's say you assess the situation, it's only 25% down the project. You say, listen, I'm going to let him go because there's a small, damage. Then you take it over. Then you hard time finding the next person, for example, right? You have to really watch out not to complain because that decision has downsides. If you say, I wish I did not discontinue the project with him, I wish I continue. Of course, there's some upside to it. But if you do not have the mindset of complaining or looking at the change yourself, which is the natural tendency, looking at the cup is half empty, you're going to bound to complain about the negative side, whichever decision you make afterwards. Let's say the project is 75% down. You say, okay, Dr. Wang, I'm going to just stuck with it, let him finish the project, knowing it's not going to be as good as collaborating, but he's not buckling, and I'm going to buckle a little bit. He finished the project. Then here's the thing. Do not complain about the quality of the project. Oh, it could be better if we get Eric into it. Forget it. You already made the decision to stay with this guy. Just finish it. So make a decision based on 50% point evaluation, but whichever decision you make, watch out. Your human tendency is going to complain about the negative aspect of that decision. So watch out. If you don't watch out, you're going to go into a loop. You're never happy. Whatever decision you make, you're going to stay with it. If you decide, if it's less than 25%, you let him go. Do not go back to look at the downside of let him go. Forget it. You made a decision. Don't dwell on the negative side of that decision. If it's over 75% projects done, you decide to stay with him. Stay with him. Don't look at the downside of stay with him. Don't say, I could have let him go because I can get someone else, but I would have the quality of the project better. Because you already made a balanced decision that is more benefit than worse, the bad side to continue. That's a 75% progress already. So basically, I'm making two suggestions. One is 50% point decision, and second, whichever decision you make, watch out. Your natural tendency, or my natural tendency in your shoes, it's not I'm better than you. Well, I'm the same human being. I will do the same. I just have to watch out. Do not complain about. My father-in-law recently got a very tough decision to make with pneumonia and to do tracheotomy or not. Or my mother-in-law keep on saying, my father-in-law has a problem. My mother, if you have the tracheotomy, then difficult to take care. I said, we make a decision. If we're gonna do the tracheotomy, the surgery on the throat, the trachea, unless you want to deliberately make your own self unhappy, which we don't want to,
right?
You have to discipline. Do not complain about the negative side of this tracheotomy decision. I try to do that. I'm not perfect. I end up making a decision and looking back, look at the negative side of the decision because that's my human tendency. But I'm a little bit better than before. So make a decision and just don't look back into the negative side of the decision.
Amen. That's amazing advice that you just gave me. You just solved my problem. Amazing.
Great. Thank
you, doctor.
Yeah, life is give and take. It's never going to be perfect. Yeah, great. Anybody has any questions? Any other? That we do this, that Aaron actually last time he attended March 19, next day he texted me. He said, oh, Dr. Wang, we actually apply some pros. Isn't it? You said you apply some pros in some business meeting literally the next day after Shi Ban Gong Bei, right? Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, he was able to apply like 2 pros that learned the night before. So it's a lifelong learning for all of us. And I think it's a habit. Then some people say, Ming, are you saying you're the smartest? You can devise all these pros? No, I actually learn from others. And it's the pros 77 is not the end point. It's about the beginning. Meaning my goal is to inspire all of you to develop your own Shi Ban Gong Bei pros. You could develop 100 of them, 200 of them, whatever. It is the habit of observing the naturally existing inefficient behaviors and recognizing you can devise a logical solution to it. So in the last 2 minutes, Dr. Chen, I have a suggestion. Everybody, we're gonna put on the website for fun. Everybody unmute your camera. 每个人把照片打开，我们拍张照。So everybody unmute your camera. We'll take a picture, and that'll be it for today. So I'm gonna get my cell phone. So anybody listening, you can unmute and get your picture. 每个人把照相机打开，我们拍张照。那我们今天就结束了。OK， 所以呢，这个 very appreciative.
Take a book.
Yeah. So everybody, unmute your camera. We take a picture. So, you're holding a book. Yeah, Franklin. Excellent. How old are you, Franklin?
8.
8. Wow. You are going to accumulate the most number of Shi Ban Gong Bei pros than any of us, because you're the youngest. Excellent. So everybody unmute your camera. 把照相机打开，我们拍张照。Take a picture, and we'll be done. Okay, so here we go. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, everybody. You can email me anytime in the chat room, have my contact information, email, WeChat, and best wish to you all in our life journey applying Shi Ban Gong Bei. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Wang.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wang. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.